Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. I've spent some time with my brand new Smith Everest with the Gilt dial. This amazing little guy. And it's been on my wrist nearly every single day since I've gotten it. This watch is absolutely amazing. So tonight we're going to do a full review of it. So let us begin. Alright, so I bought this watch brand new, but not from Time Factors. So, sadly I got this from a flipper, I'm guessing, because the watch had just arrived and was still in all of the plastic. So there was wrapping on the bracelet, stickers on the crystal and the case back, and it came in this traveling case. So let's open this up. We have some of the paperwork in here. My extra links, the booklet with the serial number and everything, some basic information, some great shots of the watch, and all of its specifications. I still have the stickers in there because I'm weird and keep those. This is one of those cool travel cases where the cushion snaps in to the walls there so it doesn't move around, which is great. You can take this out and put your watch on it and snap it back in. And snap it back in. I said snap it back in. There we go. Tuck all this back in here. It's not the easiest case to snap closed. There we go. So now I have yet another single watch traveling case. This is in a fun and interesting purplish blue. Very cool. And here is the watch itself. The bracelet that this comes on is not the rivet bracelet like my other Everest has, which is kind of sad. I actually like that bracelet. I thought it would annoy me when I first got the watch. I wasn't really sure, but that aspect I'll kind of miss. I like that. Here is the new style clasp, and it's got the buttons so it doesn't pop open. Even if you push just one of them, it'll stay closed. So that's pretty cool. You have to actually hit both of them. This is really thick and nice here, not stamped metal or anything like that. Now, it took me a little while to get this bracelet properly sized. I think my wrist was a little bit swollen when I first got it because I had it originally set like this, like it is, with this number of links removed. And unfortunately, to wear it, I have to have it all the way out at the furthest micro adjustment, and it felt pretty snug. So I put a link back in and moved this over to the tightest micro adjustment. However, the next day, during the day, it was just flopping around on my wrist all day. So I put the link back in, and sadly, if I wear this someplace hot, like if I go to Palm Springs or something crazy like that, this bracelet is going to be really snug on my wrist. I feel like bracelets that have micro adjustments, they should have a full link's length of micro adjustment. If this watch had that, I would have options. I could put that link back in and then go all the way snug and it would wear just like it does now. But I would have micro adjustments outward, so when I'm in hot weather I could loosen it a little, but it's fine. I'll probably just take the Tissell when I go to hot places. That has the toolless micro adjustment on it, and it's kind of a beater. This one is kind of my fancy Explorer that I really like and am not going to want to beat up anyway. So I feel like the Tissell will be a vacation watch, and this one, everyday wear or something. Close this up. The bracelet on this is really nice, just like the other Everest. I feel like this one's a bit lighter than the rivet bracelet, but it's not loud and jangly, so perfect. Looking at the lugs, they are brushed on top, polished on the sides, and they're drilled, which is nice. Especially with this bracelet on there, it's really easy to take off. I know because I've taken the bracelet off of my other Everest a couple times, and it's surprisingly easy to get it back on too. I am not skilled at putting bracelets back on, because I don't generally wear them, but these aren't too bad to put back on. Looking at the case back, we have the Smith's logo there. We have the water resistance called out, and the reference number there, and it's all mirrored. So far there aren't any scratches on it because I'm really weird, and if I'm setting this watch down, dial up, I'll actually put a piece of cloth between the case back and the bracelet. It's super weird and obsessive, I know. But yeah, the curves on the sides of the case are great. And this is a screwed down crown, so we'll see what that's like to operate. Let's unscrew this. And it pops out. We'll pop this out. And the movement hacks. And it feels really great when you're setting it. There's a decent amount of resistance. Very smooth movement. We'll get this around to 10 and 2. And pop that back in. Winding it feels really nice. You can feel a little touch of graininess in there. Just enough to know that you're winding it. And that feels great as well. We'll screw this back in. It catches easily. Yeah, that crown is great. Looking at the bezel and the crystal. I love the crystals on these. They're slightly boxed, just enough to cause some distortion on the edges there. And it almost makes the dial seem a little bit smaller. Of the Explorer homages that I own, these wear smaller than all of them, even though they're all about 36 millimeters. And I kind of like that. Plus, this is a 101.6 homage, which is my favorite Explorer. So yeah. And the star of the show with this particular watch is that Gilt dial. When I first encountered the Everest, I wasn't interested in the Gilt dial at all. I wanted the regular one. I just didn't know what I would think of gold highlights all over my dial. But I love the way the minutes track is a bit more subtle on this variant because it is gold. And the branding looks really great. The dial is really dark. There's a sunburst to it, but it's darker than the regular Everest. It's interesting. And I feel like the gold just kind of softens it a little. Kind of like when you have beige colored lume, it's a little less jarring than the bright white. I feel like it kind of does that for this watch as well. And we can see that the markers are lumed. So let me fire up the flashlight and we'll see what that looks like. You can see it glowing already. And check that out. That is pretty decent lume. This is one of those watches where you'll notice the lume throughout the day. Maybe as you enter a slightly dimmer room. So it's pretty bright. If I remember right, this is Super Luminova. And it seems to last okay too. Very cool. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is 36 millimeters. The case height is 11.3 millimeters. The lug to lug is 43.5 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire. The movement inside this is a Miyota 9039. And the water resistance is 100 meters. Alright, so let me take off my Longines Dolce Vita on a blue strap. And we'll see what the Gilt dial Smith's Everest looks like on your wrist. And here is the Everest on my 7-inch wrist. I swear every time I do a video on these, I almost call it an Explorer and have to check myself every single time. It's hilarious. That clasp is absolutely trustworthy, which is so great. Oh, this watch just looks amazing. And it's so solid. Just, great watch. I have been wearing this a ton. It was kind of expensive because it was on the second-hand market, but not too terrible. There were some used ones that were selling for even more, and this one was brand new, so I feel like it was a pretty decent deal, and I didn't have to deal with the Time Factor's shop. So, oh, that crystal, so cool. Yeah, this one is definitely a keeper, and the best 1016 homage I have. So there you have it, the brilliant Gilt dial Smith's Everest watch. Thanks for watching.